Hey there, it's Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. It's week 3 of the magical Orilium Readathon, and I'm vlogging again. So let's kick off this vlog talking about the books that I am currently reading. I am in the process of reading 3 different books, all 4 different prompts of the magical Readathon. The first of which is Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. This is a, I think, domestic thriller. I don't know much about it. I know that I've read another book by Liz Nugent, and it had a really great twist to it. I've heard really good things about Liz Nugent's writing, and I'm kind of eager to just pick up something else from her. I'm only about a chapter into this book, so I cannot give any opinions on it yet, but hopefully it'll be good. The next book I'm also reading is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I'm 8 chapters into this book, and so far I really like it. It does have kind of a depressing theme to it, which is fine. It's also one of those books that when I'm reading it, I don't want to put it down, but if I put it down, then I don't feel the urge to pick it up straight away, so we'll see. I'll get back to that one, and hopefully I will like it, because I like it so far. It's just quite dark and depressing at the moment, so we'll see. And the third book I'm reading is The Progeny by Shelley Crowley. This is a vampire book about trying to find a cure for vampirism, and I'm 50 pages into this one. I think it's a 500-page book. It's an ebook that I'm reading it on, so I don't remember. So far it's pretty good. It's again quite a dark theme. I think I'm just going for like darkness this week apparently. And I've liked it so far, what I've read of it. I just actually need to pick it up and get back to it. I had to prioritise some other things. So I was like, I'll just start it. Because sometimes I find that if I start a book, then it's way easier for me to just continue with it rather than if I need to start a new book and then I just keep putting it off. Because if I've already started it, then it's just stepping back in rather than having to take a big step into a new thing. I don't know, did that make any sense? So I think my focus for this week is to complete the rest of the career goals. I have 3 career qualifications left for the Dreamwalker career, and to finish that I'll have to read Lying in Wait, The Bone Season, and then Full Metal Alchemist Volume 6, which is a manga, so I feel like that's very achievable. And then I'm going to focus on the quests and any other reading that I want to do for the month. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this will all go well, and I will be checking in with you guys when I've read some more. Let's just check in for a reading update. I've been reading Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. I'm about just over halfway through, and I'm not really sure where this is going yet. I think it's interesting. It kind of flicks back and forth between different perspectives, and in the first chapter, a man murders a woman, and then him and his wife cover it up. I mean, I can't really tell you what else has happened. It's about the different people who are involved. The murdered woman's sister, the family of the people who murdered her, what happened there and why. I just don't know where the book is going, and I'm not sure what's going to happen yet. I also spent most of the evening watching Star Wars Rebels. Just got to the end of season 2 and it was a good finale. I enjoyed that. I've also been reading Progeny by Shelley Crowley, and I read 41 pages of it, so I'm 100 pages into the book now. Not sure how I feel about it, because it's kind of moving in a direction I don't really want it to at the moment, and I'll just see what happens next. I don't want to comment on it too much because I feel like it's at a transitional stage. I would like it to go to more towards the vampire thing, because the main character is kind of being like, oh well, I'm human now and I maybe would like to stay human, and I'm like, would you? I wouldn't. I'm just saying, if you had been a vampire for 100 years and then you were suddenly human again, would you want to though? Because imagine having to deal with bodily functions and shit again. One of the things that she's done so far is shaved her legs, and I'm like, why would you want to go back to that? Why would you want that again? No. Just finished reading Lying in Wait, and Liz Nugent did it again. Seriously, the ending of this book was like, what the fuck? Oh my god. It's so fucked up. Twice now, with this book and Skin Deep, the ending has actually changed the rating of a book for me. You go through the story and you're feeling a certain type of way about the characters, and then something happens at the end and you're like, what the fuck? How has it worked out like that? How has that happened? I mean, you can see how it happens. I mean, it makes sense how it happens, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that is the end. It's Wednesday, I've been sucking at vlogging, and let's talk about what I've been reading. So I finished Lying in Wait. It had a great ending. I've mulled it over and decided on 4 out of 5 stars. It was 3 out of 5 stars, then the ending made it 4 out of 5 stars. Similar thing happened with the previous book that I'd read of Liz Nugent's. So if I see more books from this author, I'm definitely going to pick them up, because the endings are just a huge thing for me now. I'm like, what is going to make me have my mouth fall open and be like, what the fuck? So yes, this was good. I enjoyed it and I'm glad I've read it. Yesterday I didn't vlog, but I did manage to read Full Metal Alchemist Volume 6. This one was much better than Volume 5. It had a lot more about the backstory, but it was much more to do with things actually happening rather than like just being told about them and like the lead up to them. So actually interesting things happened in this one. I'm definitely more interested in carrying on after this one than I was after the previous one. I've also read some more of the Bone Season and it is really interesting, but at the same time I'm not like super invested in things that are happening. I feel like I should be, but I'm not, and I don't quite know why. I feel like a lot of things have happened, but yet not very much has happened, and I need like some more things to happen. I don't know. Anyway, I will pick it up and I'll see how I feel about it, but at this moment in time I'm not really sure where I stand, and I think a lot of it will hinge on the things that happen after this point. In other news, I went shopping and I have a couple of books to haul. So first up, I bought volumes 16, 17 and 18 of Full Metal Alchemist. I've been trying to find these like 3-volume bind-ups because this was about $10.99 and individually they're like $6.99. And also I'm finding the individual ones really hard to find as well, so I'm like, if I can get any that have 3 volumes in, then I'm good with that. I don't care if they don't match. Although I have got a couple of the 3-volume ones as well as the single ones. They're not going to match. I don't care. Manga's expensive. Then in the sale section, I found volumes 3 and 5 of Monstrous. Now, I haven't actually started reading this series, and I do have volume 1. I do think it's going to be something that I'm really going to enjoy, and these were on sale, cheaper than I was going to get them online. So I kind of thought, I'll just pick them up, even if I don't have 2 and 4. Last night I spent most of the evening editing last week's vlog, so I didn't get that much reading done. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish the Bone Season, so I kind of saved it because I want to read the rest of it in like one chunk. So I decided I would start Half the World by Joe Abercrombie. This is for one of the quests, I think featuring morally grey characters, which it certainly does. And it's the second book in the Shattered Sea series. This one follows some of the characters from the first book and some new characters. And I've got to say that I like the new characters a lot more. I think I am more instantly drawn into this book than I was the first one. I think because the first one felt like a familiar story that I'd maybe heard before and sort of knew where it was going. And while this one does have aspects of that, I think there's a lot more that could happen from this setup. Also, one of the new characters that has been introduced is a girl that wants to be a warrior, and men are like, lol, 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 girls can't fight, and then she proves them wrong. So, I mean, I know that's like a really common thing, but I like that, and I think I get sort of drawn into stories that are like that a little bit more. So yeah, it's promising. I am about halfway through this book now, and I'm hoping to finish it today. That is something that I find quite interesting though, is that I have about the same amount of time left in this book and the Bone Season, and yet I'm more looking forward to finishing this one than I am the Bone Season. I so can't decide how I feel about the Bone Season. When I pick it up, I'm sure that I will enjoy it. It's just actually picking it up that I'm finding a hard time. It's been a hot second since I did any vlogging at all, and actually this week's vlog is finished, and I just didn't update you on a lot of it. So let's talk about what I read in the time when I wasn't vlogging, because I just kind of ran out of steam with it. And hopefully next week I will be, back on the game of vlogging, but who's to say? So I left off when I was reading Half the World by Joe Abercrombie, and I finished this one in a day. I didn't want to stop reading it, and I actually got really into it. I was a little bit surprised by how much I did get into it, but it turns out that I really do just love woman beats up men stories. Like when a woman becomes a warrior, even though all the men are like, no, you can't do it, and then she proves them wrong. I love that. And there were like some like grim things that happened in here, but I appreciated all of them. I liked where this one went, and I actually enjoyed it more than the first book. So much so I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. It's not like a top 5 out of 5 stars, but I don't know, I just enjoyed it, and I liked the characters that were in this one and how the story just sort of progressed. It was a good time, and I'm really interested to see where like the political things go in the conclusion to this trilogy. Then I finished off the Bone Season after putting it off for a significant amount of time. I actually managed to finally finish it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and I think this one had a really good premise, a really good sort of history and structure to it. I just found that there was something slightly missing for me. I don't know if it was that a lot of things just happened to the main character. Like, she wasn't super active in doing things for a lot of it, but a lot of other people seem to be in charge of the things. I don't know how much I can justifiably complain about that though, because she was made a slave quite early on in the book, and they don't tend to have much control, so I feel like there is leeway there. I'd be interested to know what happens in the next book, because there's enough of it that makes me want to continue with it, but I just wasn't as gripped as I was expecting to be, and I still have a lot of questions. So I'm definitely going to continue with the series. It didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. And then I finally finished The Progeny by Shelley Crowley. This is a darker vampire book that I just randomly found when I was scrolling TikTok one day. So yesterday I read the last 400 or so pages, and before that I'd only read 100 pages of the book. And I was finding it really hard to get into. And I realised yesterday when I was reading more of it that it was more to do with like its tone. It's a seriously depressing book, and a lot of it is about like segregation and discrimination against vampires from the humans. Like, there is absolutely no punishment for a human to kill a vampire in this world, and all sorts of things are happening to the vampires that are not great. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a bad time. There is a guy trying to find a cure for vampirism that they may or may not want, and is doing experiments on people. It's not a good time. It was a really interesting structure to this book, to be honest, because first off you start off with these two characters and they go through something, and then you meet some other characters, and then the main character of the book just completely changes halfway through, and you're like, oh, we're following this guy now, okay. And it's interesting, but I found that I was struggling to get behind some of the characters because their decisions that they made were just a bit weird to me. I can't really go into too much detail about it because it's just a massive spoiler for all of the things that happen, but the way that they react to certain things that happen to them just like completely turned me off of the characters, and I didn't understand their motivations and like why they were doing specific things. I'm okay with how it ended, and in the end I did actually end up enjoying it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I think that was more for how deep it delved into like the discrimination aspect than the characters and the story itself. Overall, I enjoyed it. I just wouldn't go into this book expecting to be particularly happy, because it definitely brought my mood down while I was reading this book, so, you know, that's a bit depressing. So let's quickly go through the magical readathon prompts that these books covered. So I completed the psionics and divination Q and D levels, where for the Q level I read something with the same word in the title as your last read. I read Lying in Wait, and the word that I repeated was in, from Sky in the Deep. I know that's slightly cheating, but also I don't really care. Then to get the D level, I read a second-hand book, and that was Full Metal Alchemist Volume 6. And lastly, for the career prompts, I've totally finished the career prompts now, and I'm very happy with that. For a Law O level, I had to read a book with colours similar to my country's flag, and I read The Bone Season. I completed 2 quests this week, and one of them was Study Buddy Required, to read a book with morally grey characters. For that one I read Half the World. And I also finished the AWW Needs You, read a book featuring undead characters, for which I read The Progeny by Shelley Crowley. So that's where we stand with the magical readathon so far. I have managed to complete all of my career prompts. Very, very happy with myself. And I've completed 5 quest prompts. So I think for the last week I'm just going to be solely focusing on quests, and I feel really happy with myself. So I think this was a good vlog, even if I didn't vlog much. It was a good reading week at least. If you made it this far into the video, please just leave me a question mark emoji. Is there a question mark emoji? I don't know. A question mark will do, because I always end up being really confused by the end of these videos, and I'm sure you guys are too. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!